And so therefore, this brother is making sure that he does the research and showing us how we are all connected. Give a round of applause to the brother Dane Verrtah.
All right. Before I start, I just want to dedicate this performance to my father. He guided me through a lot of chaos, and he gave me the foundation that I stand on. So I just want to honor him and also honor y'all. And thank you for having me here. So this is a portrait of us. In the Mississippi Delta, my soul entered the world, gifted a black spirit and body. At age 3, this U.S. society tells me to make a decision, to be a new American orphan forever, or die now an African. At age 15, I watched the sea swallow my village, and my family photos mixed with the same water our ancestors chose as their burial ground 500 years prior. I immediately decided I would never be afraid of anything ever again, so I chose to be an African, a black family's child, and I was not surprised when death did not arrive. Instead, it was revealed that life is without end, that the soul's dance goes on as long as the stories God tells in early evening. When we return home from the fields, we work and find God sitting on front porches and backyard gardens in the form of pecan candy ladies and slick-talking old men, in the form of young folks' dances and endless poetry, in the form of you and I. When we crossed paths the other day, I remember the time we was waiting for sunlight's arms in the dark belly of a floating prison made of oak and cold iron. And the day we was waiting for the bus in brick cold winter. You remembered visions of the mama land, clear and hazy into myths. 10,000-year memory woven lighter than spider silk. And I spoke poems of great sun palaces and starships that we had once rose and would rise again from the relics we would leave behind for our children in our bones to decode the blueprints. You laughed at me and said I'd be getting too deep. That same laugh you had the day we discovered jazz. And the next day, when we looped Granddaddy records into trains to carry the young folks' tales of pain and love and energy to the ears of the world, which was that same laugh you had the day we burnt down the plantation and the sugarcane fields we once worked. When we split ways, you left me peaceful and full of a question. Can we save ourselves with a story? Can we weave the song of ourselves into the soul of a new way of living? Can we bless our families with immortal stories which become threads of time eternal? We that people who time eternal. We that people who first discovered what living is. We that people who now endure so much torture. A nation of people who lost our parents and raised up ourselves. We that people who be a riddle to the philosophers of modern man. They be asking how y'all could laugh and cry at the same time. We that people who have no option but to fly. Black excellence, that which begins the moment we decide to redesign gravity. Now this part is about the time I met all of y'all in this village here, this little African village in the middle of the Midwest, Minnesota. Black excellence. So there's two parts to the phrase, right? There's us, and then there's the way that we move through the world. And I want to start with us, with the name that we know ourselves by right now, black. What is blackness? There's so many definitions, and tonight I want to give you my perspective on 3 of them. There's the government definition, the blackness of the census form, the melting pot definition of blackness, which forces the black ink of maps and geopolitical treaties to color we children of Africa, some ancient, some old, some young like we, all the same on the quota forms and the stat man's books. This is a definition which gets the point of origin half correct, a definition that attempts to erase the true free jazz of our story, the differences in beauty that carry from north side to south side, from deep south to equator line, which makes our people a gorgeous tapestry. What the government's definition of black can never portray is that our symbol, deeper than that red, black, and green, is the freedom quilt hanging in the window on the Underground Railroad. The 10,000 stitches holding together mixed matched cloth patches sewn into constellations which point the way towards freedom. When we come together, our family points the way to a new way of living in the world. We don't just liberate people from chains. Our blackness shifts the arc of humanity. Or said another way, when we come through, we like the history of humankind, blown through a trumpet like lightning bolts. When we come through, we change the way the song of life is played. When we come through, we set that standard and we change the game forever. Never forget that we are 10,000 plus tribes, clans, societies, nations, wealthy and brilliant as the blue-black night sky shining full of stars, and all of our differences are drawn together by a common thread. And that is our discovery that humanity, that life on this planet, in this universe, which was shaped by a divine poet, is all about harmony, is all about staying in rhythm with the galaxy, staying on beat with the rhythm of the river and the hum of the wind. And then there's a more toxic definition, a black that festers on the lips of people filled with hate against us. That definition of black is a fantastic ghost story, the one that dribbled from the lips of Darren Wilson when he saw that little brother Mike Brown down in Ferguson, a point that he had arrived at long before they ever encountered one another. I'm talking about Don Imus. I'm talking about the brothers, the strangers that wandered through our village, believing that our sisters, our children's bodies are disposable. I'm talking about the way that my village was left to sit in the waves in the sun, while the arms of police and citizen soldiers try to turn themselves into slave catchers, but it don't go down that way. When I'm talking about the kinds of people who wander in a fantasy land, who sing themselves to sleep with lullabies when they're really drinking poison. So let us not return to them, because blackness is so far beyond self-destruction. Then there's our wisdom of blackness, what it is, what it be, and what it's gonna be. A great scholar from our village says that there's 40 million black folk in this country, so there's 40 million ways to be black, and I agree with that. And, you know, I also say that there's 1.1 billion black people on this planet, so there's 1.1 billion concepts and visions of blackness for us to transform this world with. So I want to share my vision. What I see when I look at y'all, I see endless potential. I see endless visions of a healed earth, visions more numerous than grains of salt thrown over the shoulder to chase off bad luck. When I look into y'all's skin, which dazzles and blinds me, my God. When I look at us, it's like you're trying to look past the surface of the sea. When I look into y'all using my heart, what I learned from us, that in the deepness of our blackness, beyond our shades and our flesh, our blackness is a way of moving through the world. It is a way of being at peace with all creation. It is a way of tasting the joy of life and enduring the wrath of madness. It is a way of outwitting the teeth of the whip, of outlasting the machines of war. Our blackness is a wisdom which knows of a different world, one that dollars will never be able to measure. We are the first people of this world. We know creation as it was on the day it was finished. There's no grain of sand in the hourglass of time that has not passed through our hands, our toes, our hair. And when I look at us all, the billion black souls of this earth, looking into the beauty of us when we are healthy, looking into the beauty of us when we are surviving the pains of this modern world, I know us for what we are. Our blackness is a spirit on this planet that nourishes humankind. Our presence shifts paradigms. Our very existence transforms the way that people know the world, know creation, know God, know themselves. So who are we really? We them people that's raw, that's healing, that's refreshing, funky, otherworldly, blue, compelling, welcoming, ephemeral, harmonizing, true, ingenuitive, sensitive, expressive, and smooth. We the cool explosion, the revolutionaries, muse, the visionaries, guardian, generous and vengeful, rageful and loving, where we rest, no water's trouble, and the sun is kind to us. Glorious. Glorious we are. Glorious, glorious our hearts, our mothers. Our heart is the mother of humanity and the father of thought that sustains love. May we never stand to tear one another down. May we forever stand shoulder to shoulder. May we forever stand shoulder to shoulder. Our family is that great spirit of justice, which brings all injustice to its end, which brings balance to the ill soul. Our blackness is a sanctuary. We are that dream of liberation that we are searching for. So let us look into ourselves and create a civilization of harmony and love that's screaming in our veins to be born. What is black excellence? A mystery mythology. It's you, humming and dancing beneath a veil of stars, speaking Ebonic hieroglyphics swirled with Swahili patois as you plant the seed of that great tree that will bloom into shade and fruit for the next society we will live in. That seed we plant right now that blooms after a while, that will nourish our descendants. May they never endure the hunger that we have known. Thank you.